Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another broadcast. Something a little bit different, something a little bit special. Welcome everyone to the CranKy Ducklings. I'm of course Show's Live VIP, and with me, we're going to be covering the ESL Open Cup Americas 2028. 2028? What? 228. 228 replays. This event happened a couple of days ago, around 2 days ago here. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cover it live. At the time, I woke up and the semis had already begun. At the time, I was just so tired. I woke up, semifinals was underway, and I was like, I'm good. I think I ended up like getting some food and streaming. I think I laddered that day. I think I laddered on stream. But alas, we did miss out on the ESL Americas replays, so we are here to cover them here for you live. Let's go, baby, let's go. It is possible that maybe you've already seen some of these matches. If so, recommend you not post spoilers in the chat, as we will be banning or timing out spoilers in said chat as we dive into these replays. Also, on top of that, something a little bit odd when it comes to this week's ESL Open Cups. Something to bear in mind is that over the weekend was Stars War 11. Okay, so over the weekend was Stars War 11. Of course, we did cast it, we did broadcast it, the entirety of the event, and players were traveling back home from China during these tournaments. Because of that, a lot of the regulars were not able to compete in ESL Asia, Europe, or in Americas. So specifically this week, the lineups were a little bit different because Hero was traveling, Dark was traveling. Oh, sorry, not Dark. Hero was traveling, Dark was not. Dark definitely available to compete in these. But players like Bjorn, players like Firefly, players like Skillus. So a lot of the Europeans and Koreans that were traveling were not able to, or chose not to, compete in ESL Open Cups, as they were still traveling or maybe a little bit jet lagged after the fact. So because of that, that actually allowed for some more interesting, or some more different kind of lineups and matchups and different runs that we saw throughout all of ESL Asia, at least. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case for Americas and for Europe as well. So kind of leave things a little bit open for some other players to make a deep run, especially amongst the Koreans. Speaking of, we get to see that here. We get to see that here for you in ESL Open Cup Americas. This is the semi-finals, by the way. We're going to be featuring Trap versus soO. Again, Hero didn't partake in this, Bjorn didn't partake, Dark didn't partake either. A lot of the regular Koreans that you would expect to see in ESL Americas did not compete this week, so we have players like Trap and soO making a deep run instead, which is exciting. It is exciting stuff here to see them this deep in a tournament, and one of these two will advance on into those grand finals. Exciting stuff. Meanwhile, because we only have a handful of replays for ESL Americas, for those that are curious, usually we have like a wealth of replays, round of 16, round of 32, round of the quarterfinals, semis, the finals. This week, I guess because it wasn't just that a lot of the players, a lot of the regulars weren't competing, but I think again, a lot of the regular casters also weren't covering it either. So we actually don't have a lot of replays of this event. We do actually, the casters, they give the replays over to ESL. They compile replay packs and they give it out to other casters to be able to cover them themselves. But for ESL Americas, we only have 2 matches, which is surprising. I don't think that's ever happened before, but we only have the first semis and the grand finals. I don't have any quarterfinals matches. I don't have any round of 16, don't have any round of 32. I don't have the lower semifinals either. So yeah, unfortunately, we don't have that much coverage of this tournament, or I don't have much available here of it, which is a shame. It is definitely a shame. I would have loved to have seen more of these players, so this is going to be a bit of a shorter broadcast. Now, because it's going to be a little bit shorter, we're going to be covering Europe as well. Because I only have 2 matches for Americas, we do have the European replays as well. I'll be going over ESL Open Cup Europe right after ESL Open Cup Americas. That's going to be the plan. That will be the plan here for us tonight. Here we go. This Monday was when soO took part in ESL EU Weekly. Super rare. Oh, nice. That's really cool to hear. I have no idea. I have no idea when it comes to the European Weekly, or again any results. So we're going to be diving in blindly here. Let's go. Hope everyone in the chat has been having a great day as well. Light is in the future. Oh, let's go. Aye, more StarCraft. Papi's an animal, a wild beast that cannot be tamed. I am an animal. Pecoeta. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenidos. See Psychons in the chat. Chaos Fade as well. Shaking my head, Chaos. Shaking my head. Noam Chomsky, Rowdy, Droptimus as well. Cyberjohn, Psychons. Hope you're all having a great day and a great week. And again, we're just gonna be diving into something a little bit more chill, a little bit more laid back, into some of these replays. Trap versus soO, a blast from the past here. It's been a long time since we've seen them face off against each other. Of course, Trap, a recently returning ex-military player. soO has been back for quite some time. He has returned, and he's been back for over a year at this point, I'm pretty sure. And soO has yet to really find his stride. Trap already finding a lot of success here. We've been casting a lot of Trap over these past couple of weeks. He's been back for a month and been looking very impressive. But here we go, we're jumping into our next series. For those who weren't here for it, last night we casted Kung Fu Cup and we casted Trap versus Clem and Trap versus Shin. And Trap was looking impressive, even against Clem. Like, Clem was having a bit of a harder time against Trap, which is not something that I really expected to see, just because Trap has only been back for a month or so. So yeah, for a player like Clem to struggle, a player like Shin to go down to Trap is very impressive stuff, but we'll see how he compares to soO. We shall see. So diving into our first match of the night. Let's go. Again, there's also a lot of hype around soO as of late, and we can get into that as we dive into our first game. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless, but deserving to be on a team. It is Trap. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing CranKy Gaming, DKZ. It is soO. And that is what I'm talking about here when it comes to the hype around soO, is that soO did recently join a new team. He recently joined CranKy Gaming. This was at the start of WTL, and I was excited because it's like, yo, so basically the reason why DKZ picked up another player is because they lost Dark. If you remember, they did end up losing Dark at the start of the year. Dark left the team and he joined Talon Esports instead. A big reason as to why he left the team, I'm pretty sure, is because of Dark's military service. It's on the horizon. It's like, we don't know any specific dates, but it is coming soon at TM, and it's possible that maybe DKZ, because of the uncertainty of the availability of Dark, DKZ didn't re-sign him, and they picked up another Zerg player instead. soO has since been picked up. Now, soO is an interesting pickup. I was excited because it was like, okay, now soO has a reason to practice, has a reason to compete in these online weeklies, you know, and now he has a salary, and now he can get a little bit more support and has more reason to commit to StarCraft. That's one of the big things for soO, is that soO's been back for a long time, but soO, he is a part-time player. Like soO, he has a job IRL, like outside of this, and he focuses elsewhere, and you know, that does reflect as to why soO hasn't been too successful in StarCraft in his return, because again, he's just kind of playing whenever he has free time, and it's not his main focus or his main priority. But after joining DKZ, I was thinking maybe that would change. The interesting thing though, as soO did do well in GSL, is that soO hasn't been competing in WTL. World Team League, I thought, was the big reason why soO was picked up, but yeah, soO hasn't really been active at all in World Team League for DKZ. Jeshi has been stepping in instead, so I was a little bit surprised by that, and I'm curious if that's going to change. I mean, clearly we can see that soO is now a little bit more active in these online weeklies. Playing in ESL Americas is a pretty big deal, or it is a big investment of time here, so really excited to see him compete in this, and I hope that this is the beginning of a trend. I hope that soO is going to be active once again. I hope so. Meanwhile, we do have a bit of a delay here on the third base. Adept soon going to be moving out across the map, but it looks like we should force a cancel on this pylon, and we should be able to expand. Again, a hatch gas full opener here by soO, everything looking as it should. Across the map, Trap opening up with a Stargate opener instead. It's going to be Stargate in the main base, followed by, I imagine, a third base and Oracles. Trap, in his return to StarCraft, has been a little bit aggressive, but for the most part has been playing a little bit more standard. We haven't seen any crazy cheeses or all-ins from Trap yet though. Again, he's still recently back, still kind of finding his way in the meta, still trying to sell himself as well. As for now, we are just going to be getting into our 3-base setups here. soO gonna be droning up. Gonna be droning. We do have an Adept threatening across the map, but we shouldn't really commit to a shade here, as it would be the end of the Adept and we don't want to throw it away. Now we're up to 2 Adepts. 2 Adepts do one-shot drones, and now we can pose that much more of a threat to the mineral line here of soO. Here we go. We don't quite commit. We threaten the 3rd base. Oracle is on the way. We have a 2nd Oracle coming up behind this. Get everything looking as it should from the side of Trap. Don't quite commit yet here. Queens are keeping up with the rotation, though. They keep up with the Oracle. There is no sport, but we have Queens in position, and we do manage to get 2 drones. But only 2 workers. Ooh, as the Oracle takes a lot of hits. That was not the best trade here for Trap. Taking that much damage for only 2 drones. We'll have to retreat. We'll have to back off. Behind this, Overlord is being shut down. Ooh, that's going to be a kill on the Overlord. That will supply block soO, actually. So rough pick off there. Link's trying to make up for that, going for a big counterattack. It looks like we want the Stalker, and it looks like we're going to get it. Oh! It's going to be close. We have the Oracle to defend. The Stalker will be safe. As Trap continues to try to find some damage here. Is gonna get a couple more drones. So you get 3 drones here at the natural. Not bad. We get 3 drones. We threaten the shade towards the main. We do commit, but we're down to 1 Adept. We should be cleaned up as we barely get 1 more drone. The Oracles dip in, and they are forced out. 4 drones in total for 2 Adepts. That's an okay trade. It's not bad. It's okay, but again, we were hoping for more. We were hoping for more there. As Trap pulls back with his weakened Oracle, moving in with his 3rd. Behind this, working towards a Twilight Council, working towards a Forge. This should be for +1 and Blink. Should be a standard transition here for Trap. And back at home, we have the Oracle to defend. These Lings, they shouldn't do much here. And they threaten the mineral line. 2 Oracles, they dive into the natural base. And finally, we get a little bit more done here. 5 drones go down. The Oracles will escape. But did I speak too soon? Up! Oh my god. We get 8 worker kills. Adepts a shade into the 3rd base. This time we're getting damage done finally here. 10 workers full. We're going to get 11 towards the end. And I believe the Oracles did recall back home. Ooh, I say that 1 Oracle went down. Only 1 made it back. But 11 drones for a handful of Adepts and an Oracle. Finally, a better trade here for Trap. And soO, how does he respond? He's been taking a lot of losses here. Looking at the resources lost tab, we've lost 17 drones in total, and we're going for a Spire. Spire is on the way. So far, unscouted. The Oracles are low, so it's going to be difficult to get a rescout into the main. So far, no vision yet. And Mutas can be a really good way to just catch the Protoss player off guard and snowball out of control. As if the Protoss isn't ready for it, probes can very easily fall one after the other. Thankfully, we're going to have Blink Stalkers, and that will help in the defense. Speaking of, Stalkers are moving out. And we're throwing down additional gateways. Now, we have taken gases at the 3rd base. No big saturation, but we have taken them. 3 more gates on the way. That is going to be a 9-gate setup, I believe. These gateways are finishing. Did I say 9? Yep, 9. 9 gateways are up and running here. Trap quite committed. Doesn't have a way to reinforce, though. Doesn't have a proxy gateway or a War Prism. But the War Prism is on its way. Now I see why we did take gases, but we haven't saturated. Trap is going for a 3-base all-in. Yeah, it's all or nothing here for Trap. He's going to be doubling down, and Mutas, they're not going to help here in the defense. We need Lings and Roaches. And soO investing into these Mutas, that may just kill him. Again, we can warp in 9 Stalkers at a time. Trap moving in. So far, the Blinks are looking good. The Lings are shaving them off one after the other. Queens are going down. Mutas, they rock up. But again, Mutas, what are they going to do against all these Stalkers? Nothing. They're trying to add what little DPS they can. But again, Mutas are not a defensive unit. Not like this. So expensive losses here for soO. And the 3-base all-in is snowballing out of control. Trap breaking through the front line. The Roaches are going down. The Queens as well. GG gets called, and Trap will take game number 1. GG. A solid game there for Trap. Again, he did get quite a bit of damage done early on, and to follow it up with the 3-base all-in makes sense. This was a unique variation of 3-base all-in. So basically, typically what we would be seeing here is 7 gates back at home, you don't take gases at your 3rd base, and the Protoss player would throw down their 8th gateway as a proxy out in the middle of the map, and that's how you reinforce. Trap took a different approach. He threw down additional gateways, went up to 9 if you remember, took extra gases, and that was for the robo. That was to invest into a robo, into a warp prism, and with that you can actually reinforce a lot faster, a lot harder in your opponent's face. It does hit a little bit later because you have to wait for the robo and you have to wait for the warp prism, and you're also a little bit vulnerable to the warp prism being biled down, for example. But it happened to coincide with soO going for mutas, going for Aspire, and again, mutas, they can do a great job when it comes to getting you ahead and picking apart your opponent's economy, but if you're up against an all-in, mutas, they don't really help too much. They hurt you more than anything, as that money could have been spent on roaches or ravagers or anything else. With that, GG. GG, well played. Trap takes the lead, and now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Solid game out of Trap, and we'll see if soO can recover as we load in to that second game. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless. It is Trap, leading the series 1-0. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, representing Dragon KZ Gaming, DKZ. It is soO. soO gonna have to tighten up his early game defenses here. Not just that, but it was unfortunate that soO was blindly going into Aspire as his opponent was blindly going into a 3-base all-in, and that was a little bit unlucky here for soO. And as a result, I'm curious if he's going to take a risk like that again, or going to be a little bit more attentive when it comes to scouting his opponent and getting a read on what exactly Trap is up to. When it comes to Trap's build last game, it was harder to scout just because it hit later, and also because it took extra gases as well. I do think that was the purpose of those extra gases, and the more delayed push was to try to hide the all-in a little bit better as well. There are kind of less indications that you can scout to get a read on what's going on. So really smart build out of Trap, and soO, he's going to have to try to make sure he gets an eye and gets a read on what Trap is up to here in game 2. Clearly showing us that Trap, he's by no means above all-inning. No. He'll go for it, man. He'll go for it. Now Trap just going for his gate expand to the Cybercore, standard opener out of Trap. Likewise, soO going for a hatch gas pool on location. His opener, his hatchery was not delayed, was not disrupted. Able to take his natural. You love to see it. It's becoming a little bit more common nowadays. And I imagine Trap is going to be going for another Stargate opener. I mean, based on the pylon positioning, this does scream Stargate. If you wanted to hide tech like a Twilight Council, usually the pylon is thrown down a little bit further back instead. So we should be seeing a Stargate opener here. And there's no reason not to go into Oracle again. There's no reason not to just go for the same opener, as it was relatively successful for Trap in game 1. Essentially killing a mineral line worth of drones with the Oracles and the Adepts. Meanwhile, we can see Trap trying to get a read on the 3rd base. Is going to be zoned away. 3rd base now being taken by soO. And now the dance begins, where Trap is going to be poking in with his Adept and ideally should not lose it. Shouldn't commit to anything. Just trying to scout the 3rd base, get a read on the drone counts. Get a read on how many lings there are. Ooh, as we do commit into the main, actually. Okay, we do chip away at those lings, and we try to get behind the mineral line. We get eyes on the lack of gas. Decent scouted here by soO, and the Adept will make it out. Just barely. It did take a lot of damage. Second Adept is on the way. There is that first Oracle. First Oracle's in production. Trap, bending a shade. Doesn't commit. And yeah, it looks like once again it's going to be triple Oracle with a third base on the way as well. So the same opener so far, the same build of choice as game 1. So far, so good. Meanwhile, with Link Speed kicking in, we do end up catching the Adepts. Very nice catch here from soO. A lot more proactive this time. If you remember, last time soO was more of the defender, reacting to any Adepts working up into the mineral lines. But this time we catch the Adepts. Oracle takes a lot. Oh my god, Oracle takes a lot of hits and it goes down as well. Ay. Compared to game 1, we lose 2 Adepts, we lose 1 Oracle for 1 drone. And there's nothing to kill here at the third base. The Lings there across the map, they get eyes on the third base. We can maybe even get the Adept. Uh-oh. No shield battery. No, we get the surround. Was not on hold position. The Adept, it's going to be falling. And we can even get the reinforcing Adept as well. Trap, he's bleeding out a lot of units here. Forcing the Pulsar Beam, wasting energy on this Oracle. Behind this, soO is a little bit supply blocked. We have 5 Overlords on the way, but outside of that has done a phenomenal job harassing and picking off key units. And now Trap, he's down to 2 Oracles. He doesn't have really many Adepts to harass across the map. We have the transition. Trap has lost map control, and soO is free to drone. A much stronger start here for soO. It's going to be able to drone up. We have our lair on the way, Evo Chamber as well. I don't see a Roach Warren yet, and if we make the lair without a single Roach Warren, we could just go for Hydras, but there it is. Roach Warren now on the way. Oracle's coming in from behind. We get 2 more drones. That's something. But we do need more. As we even see soO just ferrying that drone over, is able to get his 4th base. Not going to be disrupted. Link's get across the map. We get another probe. We threaten that Stalker, and the Stalker, it's going to be going... Oh, okay, not quite. I was like, is it going to be going down? Not quite. We do pull back. We don't want to lose all of our Lings. Fair. Behind this, +1 and Blinker on the way. We'll keep an eye on the gateway count. If you remember, last game we went for a 9-gate 3-base all-in. Here we do have further tech, Temple Archives. This tells us that we want to try to ease our way into the mid-game. So Trap is going for a longer game instead. Temple Archives can be just for Archons. It could be for Storm as well. But soO is looking a lot more comfortable this time. There's that Hydra Den on the way. We still have Roach speed in production, but we might not invest too heavily into Roaches. We could just go Ling Hydra. As Lings, they rock up once again. Once again, they want that Stalker. There's no shield battery. The Stalker does survive. Shield battery now on the way at the third base. Hydras are back at home, are amassing. We're working on +1 range. We can see Trap going for some Adept harass. Does shade into the natural and will scat the Hydras. But he's going to be bleeding out these Adepts. Meanwhile, that Stalker finally goes down. Good pick off there by soO. Blink barely not done. Link's forced back. Now, Storm is going to be a huge upgrade here for Trap, where Storm can do well against Lings, Banelings, and Hydras. All things light here. That is true, but at the same time, soO, he's actually hitting quite a strong timing. As I say that, we have an infestation bit on the way. It looks like soO, he might actually be getting ready, or he is getting ready for Hive Tech. He is moving out somewhat, but without Hydra speed, pushing in or pushing out is not going to be advisable. With that Hive Tech, that's going to be giving access to Lurkers. A Lurker upgrade specifically. So on the one hand, soO, sure, he could max out and push with, you know, Ling, Roach, Hydra, and find a lot of success here. We may as well, though, just play it safe. Getting a 4th base, getting a 5th base, taking up into Hive. Hive is on the way. There's that Lurker Den that we spoke about for those upgrades. So soO is just building up and working towards Hydra Lurker Viper. He's just outpacing, out-teching Trap. See, Trap, he was getting ready for an assault with stasis traps, with those storms as well. Doesn't find much. Is going to be moving out. As he moves out, Lings move in. We do have the stasis though. We do defend. But soO is about to max. And Trap, he's stuck at home. At the moment, there's no way for him to move out onto creep. It's not going to happen. He will get surrounded. Gen is about to finish. Now, we could embrace lair tech lurkers, or we could just work towards upgrades and just bide our time a little bit longer here. As the Hive is yet to finish. He's spotted. Good storm. Onset army. Does zone soO away. At the same time, we push in on the right-hand side. We collapse here on the side defense. Good splits out of soO. Does avoid most of the storm with the Hydras. Roaches, they can take some shots. They can tank. Likewise, more storms being sent here and spent in the center of the map. The trap, his fifth base was denied. There are those lurker upgrades. A little bit delayed, but they're on the way. So even though soO hasn't killed Trap, and even though Trap, you can see him just catching up in terms of the supply with Immortals, with High Templar, with Archons, soO is still looking quite comfortable. You could definitely argue that we have too many Roaches. I would stand by that. Right now, soO is maxed out, but a lot of supply is tied up in Roach here, where we could replace that with more Lings or more Lurkers even. There we go, 10 Lurkers on the way. And all soO really needs to do is just deny the fit over and over again. Even just collapse on this army. Leech from one end. Trap attempting to expand. There's a changeling chasing the army. soO is pushing forward. Once again, Link's trying to go for a run by. We do react in time. Fifth base is on the way. The storm a little bit lackluster. We have 3 storms left. Oh, we have more than 3. So far, we're holding on to them. Good storm here on the Hydras. But the Lurkers break through, and the detection just wasn't here in time, or there just wasn't enough to deal with the Lurkers. And behind this, soO, he bled out all of his Roaches, and what do we replace them with? Lings and Hydras. Lings and Hydras on the way. Trap now working towards Sky Toss, but he only has the 1 Stargate. Second and third Stargate on the way. Will help. But that means it's going to take that much longer to get into Sky Toss. So soO is still in control here. Still in control. We catch some of those Zealots. soO rotating over. He wants to catch this army. He was quite deep on creep. Trap trying to avoid the surround. Meanwhile, soO likewise trying to catch out Trap. Unable to. And Trap is going to be committing to the push. I'm not so sure about this. He's going to get surrounded. Yeah, we have Lurkers from behind. We have Lings and Queens coming from the front as well. Decent storms on the Lurkers. But the Lurkers, they stand strong. We collapse. We would take down almost every single High Templar. And the final High Templar does go down. And we can keep pushing. We can just keep chasing this down. Another Immortal falls. Do we have Adaptive Talents? We do. We do have Adaptive Talents. There we go. 9 more Lurkers on the way. Spire as well for those Corruptors. Trap back at home honestly doesn't have too much. soO can push once again. As Trap is trying to expand on the right hand side. soO checking the 5th location. Confirms there's nothing here in the center of the map. Nothing yet. Look at the vision. soO, he hasn't scouted top right. The Changeling does confirm the transfer of workers. Yeah, he's aware. soO is now aware. Runs into Zealots. Yeah, the Lurkers are on the way. Trap out of position. Just one step behind here of soO. And this base, it's cut off here from Trap. And the base is going to fall. And soO just keeps pushing, by the way. Keeps pushing towards that 4th. Oh, the probes. Ooh, big volleys there on those lurkers, and Trap is going for a base trade. He knows he cannot engage with a mass amount of lurkers. But this base trade, it's so late. Like, we've already lost 2 bases. 2 bases already going down, and now Trap pushes towards the 3rd. Finally, we'll bring down the hatchery. And soO is turning back around. He's racing back home. I mean, he's already crippled the economy. He's already killed 2 bases. He's turning back around. Well, Hydra's on the way. We got some storms. No, we're recalling on the army. Okay, we bring the carriers over. The final stand here for Trap. And do we have enough anti-air? How many Hydras do we have? We have 15 Hydras. Slow zone here on the Hydras as well. Good storm. Very nice storms here on the lurkers. We have detection. Lurkers are falling one after the other. Trap, can he break through? We have 12 corruptors on the way. And we still have a couple of storms in the chamber. Speaking of, the Hydra's being forced further and further back. We still have 2 High Templar with energy. And Trap, he's going for the kill. Hydras are building up. Corruptors pop out. We have the Corruptors. We avoid the storms. We get 1. 1 carrier falls. We have 2 left. We have 2 carriers remaining. Soon to be 1 carrier left. The mothership goes down. And the final carriers of love. But what about the ground army? Ooh. Lurker does fall. We do have detection. Boys are being pulled. We're down to a handful of immortals. Carriers are going down, but again, the ground army of Trap is pushing in. Zealous catching some of these Hydras. Hatchery does survive. Trap gonna be rotating over, actually. Headed for the most important mining bases. What about the High Templar? Do you have some storms? Oh my god. And Trap can pull this off, but we need to consolidate our army. We need to bring everything together. Yeah, we have 4 immortals, sorry, 5 immortals. We have an Archon. We have a storm. The changelings! The brootlings! They force an Archon. No more storms. The brootlings taking us down. The boys are being pulled. We get on top of the immortals as well, and we're cleaning Trap up. Just barely. Trap is going to be losing every single immortal here. Ooh, good storm on the Hydras. The immortal barely does survive. Behind this Trap, getting another base up and running, but we have Corruptors, and we're going for the Nexus, and it will go down. Big pick up. Trap, he's down to, what, 1 base mining? He's got half a base here, he's got another half here at the natural. At the same time, though, soO likewise doesn't have much economy either. soO is also on a base. But we have lurkers. Oh, we have lurkers, man. The lunkers. We're coming in. Good spread there by soO. A solid spread, I should say. Does avoid most of the storms. Collapses on the army. Shuts down the Archons. GG gets called. And soO will tie up the series 1-1. Oh, GG, man. Oh, my God. GG, well played, soO. That was a chaotic game. To be fair, winding it back, if you remember, soO had a really strong early game there to be able to deny the Adepts, deny the Oracle harass as well. We saw soO having a really impeccable early game for him to be able to minimize any kind of losses and gain map control, get into his Ling Hydra, eventually his Hive Tech into Lurkers. He was 1 step ahead. Despite that, Trap going for the base trade, I feel like was probably his only move. Unfortunately, the base trade was very late, right? We saw that it was a late reaction and Trap was out of position, and it was just a delayed base trade there for Trap. He did deny bases, yes, but he also lost so much back at home, and soO was able to come back, was able to amass the Corruptor army, barely was able to hold, and did outscale Trap in the end. GG. GG, well played. soO does tie things up, and now we're going to the ace match. Okay, we're headed into game number 3 on Alkion. Let's go. Let us go. soO missed his lurker timing and allowed Trap to get a good carry Immortal Storm army? Kind of. I don't think he missed his timing. Like, his timing was strong. If you remember, that's why Trap went for the counterattack, because Trap couldn't engage soO, as his carrier army was still amassing. And if you remember, he only had like 3 carriers at the time. So soO did well there, and I do think that the base trade was kind of the best option for the Protoss, but we're now getting into the ace match. We're getting into game number 3, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkyone, we have our South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless, but for being forced into the ace match, it is Trap. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the Blue Zerg player, representing Dragon KyZ Gaming, tying up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match, it is soO. We go. So we are going to be settling in. soO once again going Hatch Gas Pull, standard opener. And we'll see if Trap can get a little bit better success here in the early game. Like, we saw Trap pop off in game 1. In game 2, soO did take a pretty strong lead against Trap when it came to the map control, droning, saturation, tech. But I feel like a lot of this did come down to the early game harassment, with the Adept and the Oracle harass. Did allow Trap to be quite comfortable in game 1 and struggle a lot more in game 2. So what do we got? What do you have for us, Bappy? I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Here we go. soO is going to be dipping in, just confirming the opener, making sure that everything is on the up and up. Likewise, Trap does the same. We have seen Trap time and time again try to delay the third with pylon blocks, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. Meanwhile, we have Trap going for his tech of choice, Stargate. Stargate opener here by our Protoss player. Once again, it should be another Oracle opener. I don't expect Trap to deviate too much when it comes to those openers, and the probe is going to be forced away. Is it going to be zoned away there? So far, so good. Third base being taken. Adept has arrived. If you remember, Trap did take a lot of damage with his first Adept in game number 2, which did end up leading to him being shot down. So Trap has to be that much more careful with his early game units. Oracle's in production. We're not going for a Void Ray first. I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen Trap go for a Void Ray opener since his return. We haven't seen him deviate too much from either Oracle openers or Glaive Adepts. But we'll see. Still early in Trap's return here. I feel like more likely he's just playing standard just to kind of shake off all the rust and get into the swing of things. Give him a couple of extra months, and then we'll probably be seeing some more exploratory behavior, like trying out some other openers, embracing some of like classic style, for example. Looking forward to it. So Oracle does move out. We have 2 queens here in the main base. The Spore is on the way. Likewise, 2 queens here at the natural. Oracle dips in. Is spotted. And Trap doesn't go for the dive. Queens are dragged towards the third base. Adepts are going to be amassing as well. And it looks like we're taking a more conservative approach. This feels like, especially after game 2, Trap, he's been put on notice a little bit. Just clearing up creep, not going for drones. Not going for those workers yet. Yeah, the Lings are keeping up. Behind this, we have our third base being thrown down. We have additional Oracles on the way. There's a transition, Forge, and Twilight Council. And on the one hand, this time, sure, Trap is keeping his units alive, but has yet to deal any economic damage. But now we've built up to 4 Adepts. Another tumor goes down. Adepts, this time we do commit into the natural. A good positioning here with those Adepts. Lings having a hard time engaging. 4 drones going to be going down. At the same time, Oracle heads towards the 3rd. Queen's not quite here, but there is a Spore. There is that Spore. We got 5 drones so far. Yeah, we just go for the dive. Oh, and the Queen's not where they need to be. We get up to 12 worker kills. Very nicely done. This time the Oracles will get away. The Adepts have gone down, but the Oracles escape. The Oracles do make it out. 12 worker kills. Oh, at the same time, 5 pros went down across the map. soO making up for his losses here. Big lane run by at the 3rd base. Looks like we did get some Adepts back at home as well. 6 Adepts went down in total. soO not in a bad position. So Oracles, they get 1, 2 more drones. They take a lot of hits. Back at home, Trap does hold. But again, looking at the unit slots tab, 14 drone kills in total against the 6 probe kills. That's still a better trade for Trap, and at least Trap has kept all of his Oracles alive. I'll say still better than what happened in the previous game. Ooh, that is a gateway explosion, by the way. This looks like the same build as game 1. Oh. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on the gateway counts. Things will be cleaned up. They do get 2 more probes. Good pickoffs. But how many gateways are we going to be getting? We have 4 gates. Sorry, 6 gates already done. Yeah, we're going up to 9 gateways. Prism is on the way. It's looking to be a 3-way all-in here from Trap. Now, as a reminder, this worked in game 1 because of how much damage was dealt. And similarly, we did get 18 drone kills. That is true. But the big difference here is that this time, soO did not invest into a Spire. Is not making mutas. He's got Ling Roach on the horizon. There is a Hydroden on the way. That is a big investment. But it is going to fare better than the mutas did. Here we go. Rocks are being knocked down. Trap, he is committed. Here comes that War Prison to reinforce. Again, we can warp in 9 Stalkers at a time. And it's going to be all or nothing for Trap. Lings, the stasis. Not bad. 2 stasis, half of the Lings. Stalker's going for the Queen. We'll survive. Again, we have to be very careful with how we pull back. We kind of expose that War Prism. Trap is supply blocked. Uh-oh. Trap, he's stuck at 117 supply. Now is not the time. Not when we're going all in. So we cannot reinforce. Stalker goes down. Prism's being forced back, and soO is holding. Same time, Oracles, they head towards that natural. A pylon just now gets thrown down. Ay, ay, ay. And now we're transitioning. We have a Bay on the way for Colossus production. Immortal as well. And Trap, he's gonna have to try to recover here. Now we're getting a 4th base with soO is held, and now soO is on a solid economy. We have an Infestation Bit on the way. And with Roach Speed, soO can then counterattack. On top of that, I believe he did not cancel. Yeah, didn't cancel the Hydroden, still has it. And now can make use of it. And Trap has to race back home. He has to turn around, has to race back home. Again, Trap knows how vulnerable he is. So we have cannons, shield batteries on the way. Trap recognizing that he's not in the best position right now. And working towards disruptors. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential here in disruptors. They can pop off. They can win you or lose you the game, to be fair, as they're quite high risk, high reward. And soO from here can stabilize. So we're stabilizing. We have the Hive on the way. We have the Lurker Gen on the way. Working towards Hydra Lurker Viper. Now, soO did invest quite heavily into the Roaches and Ravagers, which will slow down his tech, but, I mean, he did it to make sure he survived. As Lings are being active, getting eyes on any fresh bases. The army is spotted. soO does react. Rotating around. Trap, his goal here is to deny the gold. Lings getting ready to come in from behind, going for the Disruptors, never goes off. Ooh, shaves off mainly Lings though. Yeah, Disruptor goes down. We collapse on the army, and we don't just get the Disruptors, we're going for the Immortal. Yeah, the Immortal and the Disruptor do fall. Big pickoffs there from soO. And He can keep pushing. At the same time, though, big warping into the main base. We're going for the Lurker Den. Not a bad pickup. We get a couple of drones. Lurker Den goes down. We delay the tech. And soO, he isn't able to chase down those Stalkers. Good positioning with these ults as well. And the wall is solid. Lings are going down. Very nice trades here by Trap. Behind this, working towards Storm. Still in the way. Storm +3. Fourth base is up and running. Trap is holding his own. Earlier, he may have lost all of his disruptors, but now he's rebuilt. He's built back up. Oof. So Oracle goes down. And again, he doesn't have to worry about Lurker tech. Not anymore. Not for quite some time, I should say. Oh. Honestly, I would love to see a Fleet Beacon, right? Like, if you know that there's no Lurker Den and that, like, Hydra Lurker Viper is so delayed, that would be a beautiful time to start working towards that next step. For now, though, Trap doubling down, headed into double Immortal production, committing to a ground army. And to be fair, if you try to take into Fleet Beacon into Sky Toss, you do leave yourself vulnerable. And Trap doesn't want to take that risk. Keeping up with the main army. Roach counter ticket towards left hand side. We do have some stasis. Oh, and do they connect? They do. Big stasis on the Roaches. Trap has plenty of time to respond. And now we get the Fleet Beacon. Again, this could have been thrown down earlier. It is just Trap playing safe. Playing a little bit safer, playing a little bit scared. Good catch on these Lurkers. Yeah, they're left exposed. 3, 4, 5 Lurkers go down. And the goal base. Oh, the Immortals are left behind for a moment. Do you have to retreat? Oh, one Immortal goes down. Second Immortal as well. And the Disruptor. Trap a little bit distracted here by the big Roach counterattack. So who needs Lurkers? Who needs Hydras? Just give us the Roach, papi. We hit the fourth base. Shield battery goes down. All the stack defense as well. And these Roaches, they're breaking through. We get 14 probe kills. And again, Trap, just his attention being pulled apart here. Focusing on the defenses back at home. Now the army's coming over. But the damage was dealt. 20 probe kills. And behind the soO is rebuilding his Lurker count. Now finally getting to Lurker tech. Hive upgrade still on the way. Trap forces the counterattack. We have Vipers. Let's go. Novas go up. Good Novas. Good connections. Take down 2 of those Lurkers. Good feedbacks as well. Oh my god. We catch soO out. Feedbacks were solid. Trap gonna pull back. Likewise, still committing here into Mass Immortal. Now, Immortal-based armies can break through Lurkers, but you do need momentum on your side. Like, playing from behind or trying to build back up, it's difficult to do. We have that Fleet Beacon, but no Sky Toss yet. We don't have the money for it. Not anymore. We have 2 Disruptors. Nova's not quite going off. Disruptor goes down. We catch the other as well. Yeah, we just pounce on the army. So maybe a extending a little bit there. Does a extend once again walks into a wall of Lurkers. Prism goes down. soO does hold. And behind this, soO has the goal base, taking another expansion on 81 workers. And as long as we can maintain this Lurker count, we can survive this. The Lurkers, though, they don't actually have much support. Oh, the Lurkers are going down one after the other. Big pickups here by Trap. Breaks through the line of Lurkers, gets onto the goal base. But here come the reinforcements. Good Blinding Cloud. Likewise, Storm on the Hydras. It looks like we're breaking through the Immortals. They're breaking through the Roaches at least. But what about the Hydras? Oh, again, it's still so close. We have reinforcements coming and we get on top of the Immortals. Yeah, here come the Lings. Just in time. clean up most of the Immortals. We do have more coming in. Again, we're making 2 Immortals at a time. That's an insane Immortal count. Insane Immortal production. Trap does pull back. And soO barely holds on. And now here come the Lunkers. They're coming. Basically, it's Trap trying to brute force the game here. It's just trying to brute force his way through. And it's been working. Kind of. Oof. But here we may have just overextended. We cleared out 2 Archons almost for free. The High Templar as well. No. We get 1. So the run by hits with the natural. Goes for the base, but doesn't get the hatchery. Results are being cleaned up. Trap focusing on his push. How many High Templar do we have? 6. But we don't have any storms. We need a little bit more time to build up that storm energy. Trap behind this. Double expanding. Getting his 5th and his 6th. Going for the gold. Again, still trying to get into his mass immortal. But you can see how long it takes to build up this army because there's no other support. It's purely Immortal Archon High Templar. No Charge Loss, no Blink Stalkers. Nothing else. Lurk around by is intercepted. soO sharking around. He has remaxed. How many Lurkers are we on? 14! 14 Lunkers versus the 8 Immortals. There we go. Big charge warp in into the main base. And we will get damage done. We're going for the Hydrogen this time. Meanwhile, soO does outposition Trap. Slips past the army. Going for the 5th. Very crucial mining base here. At the same time, we're going for the gold. We're going to trade a base for a base. Big storms here on the Hydras and the Lurkers as well. The hatchery is going to go down, but at the same time, we bleed out 22 workers. Results in the main, they get cleaned up. We force a recall. We save the gold, but we lose the 5th. Lurkers in position. High Templar forced to be morphed into Archons. No more storms. Oh, we are coming from behind. No, High Templar. Once again, no more storms. But we do clean up the Lurkers. But alas, Trap, we're running out of resources, running out of steam, running out of everything here. Whether it's workers, whether it's army. soO can afford these losses. soO does remax. And Trap cannot. Good storm there. But outside of that, we can see soO snowballing out of control, breaking the center base. The goal base, it's going to be going down. And it looks like soO has finally broken the back here of Trap. No more 5th, no more gold. Barely an army. We have Immortals. We've always had Immortals. But again, they have no support. Not anymore. I mean, they never really did. They were supporting themselves. Now we have some charges coming in, but it's too little too late. The base goes down. GG gets called, and soO will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Bappy. GG, well played. Congratulations here as soO will take down Trap 2-1. That was a very dynamic game though, especially here in the ace match. It was very back and forth. There was some good moments for both players. I do think that Trap missed an opportunity. I spoke about it at the time when he sniped the Lurker Den. Of course, we saw that after that happened, soO was just trying to recover and trying to rebuild his tech and redrone, and he was more defensive. Trap was, it looked like he was a little bit concerned about a counterattack or like a committed push, so he delayed his Skytoss transition, and even with that delay of the transition, he never really embraced that either. He never got into carriers, into Mothership, into Skytoss at all. Did commit to a ground-based army instead, which can work. We've seen a massive Immortal Archon work wonders and bring down some big players in the past. That has occurred even in recent history in StarCraft. but you do typically need a stronger economy to make that happen. You need more map control as well, just because your army is so immobile, right? You have limited recalls available, you don't have Blink Stalkers or Charge Lots, your army is quite slow, and it is formidable, but yeah, we saw soO time and time again break down those bases and cripple the economy. GG, well played. soO does take it in the end, and soO advances on to the grand finals, where he's going to be facing off against MaxPax. Let's go.